Game quarterback play will be a huge part of the discussion. Our Slim Jim snap judgment. We want to know who should be starting at quarterback for Ohio State in that next game against Northern Illinois. You can vote at btn.com/vote. So while you log on and do that, we'll talk a little bit about this Buckeyes game. And Jerry, one of the big storylines was the suspended players who returned. Joey Bosa on defense, Jalen Marshall, Dontre Wilson, among others, on offense. What'd you see from those guys?
Yeah, it was one of the real positives of the game that 4 players that couldn't play in the first game played today. Let me show you plays by 3 of them. It starts with Joey Bosa. This is a power move by Joey Bosa, just like last year in overtime against Penn State to win the game. And the value of this is when a speed rusher like Joey Bosa has a power move, he becomes very, very difficult to pass protect. Here's Jalen Marshall on the speed sweep. Again, you put Braxton Miller in the mix as a H-back. Jalen Miller's on the flank. Here's Corey Smith, big-time receiver that they missed last week against Virginia Tech. Dontre Wilson was the other guy that came back today, Howard, that we don't see in this tape. But one of the real positives was it was the first game for 4 important guys on the Ohio State team.
I thought it was instrumental as well, getting them back involved in the offense and the defense. But when you think about this Ohio State team overall, how about some of the miscues that they had early and often on the offensive side of the football? We take a look at this first one. Cardale is a little scattered in the pocket because it's not great protection. Ends up being sacked here. Again, drops back in the pocket. Still under pressure. Not great protection today. Puts one up that's almost intercepted. Then you start to try to run the football. You see this one, the snaps off to the right. There were a couple of these today where the snaps weren't quite on. So that's something that they have to be able to clean up. But it's a lot better to clean those mistakes up when you're winning than when you're losing.
115 yards of penalties. That is a big number for Ohio State. First time in a 24-game span they did not throw a touchdown pass. So that ends a streak that was tied for the longest in school history. A lot of things to work on, and yet you pitch a shutout, you hold Hawaii under 100 yards rushing and passing. We talk about this all the time. They are simply held to a different standard, and you know Urban Meyer will hold them to said standard this week.
Monterosso with it. Purdue wins 38-14.
It's a big game out of Appleby, big game out of West Lunt as well. Our Slim Jim snap judgment asking you who was more impressive on this day, West Lunt or Austin Appleby. Be sure to log on to btn.com/vote. Let's talk about both of those teams and Purdue. Nice to see them in the win column. It ends a 7-game losing streak going back to last year. What stood out about the Boilers?
They have to be in the conversation of the most improved team in the conference. We go there in the spring, we go there in camp. It's obvious they've got a very good offensive line. They rushed for 251 yards today. You can't do that without a good offensive line. We get to camp in the fall, and Coach Hazel says, watch this DJ Knox. He's really got a chance. He rushes for 91 yards today. So that's the strength of their team. Appleby throws for just under 300 yards. So certainly an improved team. They've changed offenses since Daryl's been there. I think this is their identity, and now as the competition gets harder, we'll have to watch them grow.
Yeah, right around 1,000 yards through the first 2 games. Now the competition is going to get far more difficult coming up next because, remember, they take on Virginia Tech. So we'll get a sense of just how good that offense is against Bud Foster's defense. What about Illinois? What did you see from the Illini?
Well, same thing. Much improved. They're explosive offensively, but I think we're all surprised that they've only given up 3 points in 2 weeks. They shut out a team today. They haven't done that for a long time. Talk about competition. Next week, North Carolina. Have they made the kind of progress that we think they have? My sense of it is yes. They've rallied under Bill Cubit. They've embraced this idea that they only have one chance to play college football, and the change of coaching staff they had nothing to do with, and they're going to embrace this being a great year.
Well, I'm sure they will build on the fact that West Lunt won the snap judgment. That's something I know you were waiting with bated breath. How about this defense, though? 3 points allowed through 2 games, best they've done through the first 2 games of the year since 1942 when they pitched consecutive shutouts. So as you said, this really is an improved team, and again, we'll find out.